Hey everyone, Nitron here, and today we'll be doing part 2 of the mini-series on Theorycrafts for Caste Nathria, the next Hearthstone expansion. Today we'll be doing Druid. If you wanted to see Demon Hunters, you have to check out the last video from yesterday. And tomorrow we'll be covering Hunter. So for Druid we have two decks. First we'll go over the Death Rattle Ramp Druid deck. This deck is taking a Ramp Druid shell, which includes cards like Wild Heart Guff, Nourish, as well as some bigger cards that are staples in big decks like Great Boss Onyxia, Miracle Growth, Scale of Onyxia, and so on, and combines them with some of the new Death Rattle cards. So this is the shell of the deck, and we'll look over here at the full list. So it includes a lot of the new cards from the set. We have our location card Hedge Mage to activate Death Rattles for our big drops with powerful effects. We have Widowbloom Seedsman as a new ramp card that's very strong for this deck, especially because it's drawing us a targeted spell such as Nourish for nature or one of the other new cards. We have the Death Blossom Womper that gains a Death Rattle. Very powerful to get powerful Death Rattles out early, such as Cecilia of the Fey Court, which is kind of the main card we're focusing around this deck. We have the Nightshade Bud, which is new, which allows us to get bigger spells out earlier, as well as minions. Convoke the Spirits is one of these huge cards for the deck that is coming out this expansion, and actually, honestly, for all Druid decks, because based off community math and calculations, this card is going to give a lot of power from just one card alone. So this is an amazing card to ramp up to and get pulled out early with Nightshade Bud. In our neutral section, we're running Sin Runner, which is a solid 5-drop minion with a Death Rattle that can be activated by the Hedge Mage location, declare boards, and keep that advantage. We're also running 2 Stoneborn Generals in the list, which are very powerful sticky minions that can get pulled out early from Cecily or the Nightshade Bud. So overall, this list encompasses a lot of Death Rattle activation and ramping. So basically you're ramping up and building up a Death Rattle board that either is very sticky or has a lot of power through armoring up with Moarg Forge Fiend or destroying minions with Sin Runner. Next we'll focus on the Tapior aggro list. This deck focuses on the other new Druid legendary of the expansion, Tapior the Shrubagazor. If we look over here really quickly before we cover the shell at the list, this is a legendary dragon that once you've played him for the rest of the game, you'll get a 3/3 whelp with rush after you cast a nature spell. So this deck is going to focus a lot on aggressive board states and building up a massive board presence. So for the shell of the deck, we have cards like Aquatic Form to let us just cycle through our deck to get to cards we need. We have a lot of our cheap, strong 1-drops, such as Druid of the Reef, Peasant, Vibrant Squirrels, as well as a lot of nature spells mixed in, such as Living Roots, Sow the Soil, Composting, as well as other new ones we'll cover in a second, to activate the Tapior effect of summoning the 3/3s. Another strong aspect of the list that we have is Oracle of Elune, which is very powerful with Frostsaber Matriarch, as well as the Frostwolf Kennels, as we're summoning a ton of beasts, as well with the Vibrant Squirrel, which is getting the cost of this down, so we can make powerful plays with Oracle of Elune and copying multiple Frostsaber Matriarchs. We also have the Herald of Nature in this list because we're focusing on nature spells a lot. If we go over to the full list here, our new additions to the list are going to be one of these Planted Evidences. It's a very cheap nature spell that lets us get another spell and reduce its cost for the turn, so we can try to cycle through more nature spells that are cheap, or just grab a big nature spell that isn't in our list that could be helpful. We also have 2 Natural Causes. This is a very solid 2 damage card that can go face or to minions, and summon us a 2/2 Treant. Since it's nature as well, it'll activate the effect. We also have Plot of Sin. This is one of the powerful infused cards for Druid. Even without the infuse, we're still getting 2/2 Treants for 3 mana, which is just fine. However, if we get to infuse it with 5 minions, we'll get 2 5/5s instead. as well as it's being a nature spell, it'll activate the effect later on in the game. Of course, we covered Tapior before, but this is one of our payoff cards of the list that we're building around with an increased amount of nature spells than normal. So these are the two lists we have for Druid for Theorycrafts. We have a Death Rattle Ramp Druid, and we have a nature spell Tapior aggro list. And both of these deck lists, like yesterday, will be in the comment section of the video below. If you enjoyed this video, please consider commenting, liking, or subscribing, as it'll help me out a lot. However, just watching is all the support I could need. Once again, thanks for watching, and have a great rest of your day.